with Dr. Jason Deyo. We're at the Santa Monica Farmers Market. We're going to do a walkthrough and basically see what's going on, see what the local organic farmers are bringing, and we're going to essentially walk around, talk to these guys, and show you guys how easy it is to just get organic produce and make it so much easier for yourself.
Yeah, the thing you have to watch out for when you see range-free, that usually means soy-fed. So you have to ask, so my understanding is they're range-free eggs, but what did they eat? And obviously sprouts, sunflowers, grass, and that's great. That's what chickens are supposed to eat. They're not supposed to be sitting in some kind of shack eating soybeans and whatnot. So yeah.
Even when they're range-free, it doesn't mean that they haven't been fed soy.
Oh, absolutely.
So they'll just go chuck some soy out on the range?
Well, you also see vegetarian fed. That's another popular label. And most of these places, if you have a big enough order, you know, like they'll deliver. So what's the difference between your sprout fed and free range here?
We have the happy ones. They are organic grain fed. Happier, these are grass fed, and we have the happiest.
Sprouts.
These are the grass fed. In addition, they are fed to the sprouts and sunflower.
You're pricing this pretty well. I think about $1 an egg for an ounce of protein is I think that's a fair price, right?
Yes.
And I've seen imported all the way from New Zealand the exact same sprout fed eggs for $9.50 a half dozen, and you've got it for $4 here. I think that's fantastic.
So $4 for
Yes.
this? Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Grass-fed?
All organic, all homemade, handmade.
I personally can't taste the difference between grass-fed and non-grass-fed cheese. I guess my tongue is not that evolved. I understand most of the contaminants have been cooked out of it, so I'm pleased with that. So the slow food movement's obviously alive and well here in Los Angeles, 45 miles away from the market. Living in the city and getting it straight from the farm, that's nice. We don't have to pay the oil companies for our dairy products. If I'm making chicken at my house, it basically comes from this guy. Grass-fed, pasture-raised. We're absolutely pleased with those products. They're healthyfamilyfarms.net.
$16.75.
At $4.75 a pound for a whole chicken, eating the skin that you don't have to feel guilty about because it's grass-fed. $10 a pound at the health food store. You get it for half off here. Who doesn't like chicken skin? A teeny bit of ghee on top, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt and pepper. 400 degrees, 45 minutes. It's the best chicken I've ever had.
What's your take on agave?
Agave? From what I've read on agave, I mean, if you're anywhere near insulin resistant, you got to treat it like every other sugar. I mean, sure, it comes from a nice source. I mean, it's not quite the tequila we'd rather it was, but, it's...
All the sugar, no fun.
Yeah. I want to see the berries. The raspberries at the health food store yesterday were $6.99 for this little box. Here we're getting 3 for $11. If you think you can't shop at the farmer's market and save money, you're crazy. Look at this. Sugar snacks, garlic, $2.50 for sweet carrots.
What do you think of dried fruits?
Occasionally, if the only way I can get you to have if you get your selenium content up, if the only way I can get you to make sure you're getting some monounsaturated fats in your diet, if you're afraid of nuts, and the only way I can get you to eat them is by putting some dried fruit in your trail mix, go ahead.
I'll take what I can get.
Yeah. Like we always say, if it comes in a plastic bag, think twice about buying it.
Right.
But if you can get it right out of the bin here at the farmer's market for half the price you get it at the health food store anyway, it's a win-win. This is a no-brainer.
What's your take on this whole farmers market movement and how it can change America?
First thing it'll start doing is putting growing closer to the city, and your transit time will reduce, and you'll be able to get a better flavored piece of fruit. Here I'm going back to spirit. That life force will still be fairly intense, having it just been picked from a tree or a vine, as opposed to a 1,000 miles away, a 200 to 2,000 acre farm, pick the fruit too green, and the spirit's not fully developed, and by the time it gets here, it's gone.
Right, and you, sir, are a good man. There's one thing about eating well that has to do with the cost of going out and eating well, but the thing that most people don't take into account is people don't even know how to cook anymore. Like, people are afraid of their flipping kitchens.
We keep running into this problem. A client will come in, they'll get all the information they need on how to eat healthy and what to eat, and what do they do? How do they apply it? What happens when they get back into the kitchen that they've been trained to be afraid of? They have their 2 or 3 recipes they're comfortable making that they've grown up with, and that's it. And the rest of the time they go out to dinner. Well, coming into a farmer's market where you take things like, you've got all these fresh herbs, and then the same guy who makes the fresh herbs puts them all together into a little blend for you. Buying that pre-made organic little blend and doing something creative, finding something, a chicken dish, a vegetable dish where you're putting these pre-made spices on top, exploring it, re-empowering yourself with having some fun in the kitchen. It's easy to do, it's not too far away. I promise you, steaming a couple of pieces of broccoli and throwing some herbs on top of it with a little bit of olive oil, it's a healthy meal. You didn't have to go out to eat to get that. It can be 10 minutes away from the table if you're cooking it at home. You got farmer's market, kitchen. You're only one step away. It's so easy to cook in the kitchen. You don't have to be afraid of it anymore.